Hey everyone, here we go. We've got the ultimate alien life form, ALF. Who else was this excited for this guy to show up? With reviews on this channel, we always start with an overview of the box and everything that's inside of it. Then we look at details, articulation, and posing. And then we round it all off with a nice overall rating. Let's get into it. So here we go at the front of the box. We've obviously got ALF on it, and this is clearly from the show. This is not a shot of the figure put on the front of the box. So this is going to be a little bit different treatment on the front here. Let's look at the sign. We got a shot of the figure. He's got his sunglasses on. And the other side, oh, they went horizontal on this one. So spare some change for a reboot? Well, that would be interesting. What would a reboot of ALF look like today? Probably not great. It would definitely have to go to streaming. Then we got the top of the box, ages 14 and up, and the bottom of the box, which always has the great information of who is involved in sculpting and putting this whole thing together. So thank you to all of these folks involved in this figure. And then on the back of the box, we've got some little bio of ALF. Then we got some shots of the figure in action with his accessories and some bonus accessories that obviously don't come in there, but we all want. Where do we find the really good scale accessories? Doll houses? I don't know, maybe. At the bottom, of course, it lists out everything that comes in there, and I'm gonna read it right now. Fabric shirt, cat sandwich, soda can, sunglasses, ham radio, popcorn bowl, bag of slime balls, picture frame, and interchangeable hands. And since I read that, I'll remember when I look at the accessories what all this is called. I won't remember. When we open it, of course, that classic window from the NECA's packaging the last few years. And then we got another shot of the figure in the photo frame. But looking at everything through the packaging, you get a nice view of what all is included. So the more I look at it, the more I can't wait to open this thing up. Is something missing? Probably not. So let's open it up and see what we got inside. And the sleeve inside this one is actually just a pattern of his footprints. So really simple, but that's fine. We're not here for sleeves. So there we go, everything that's in the packaging. We've got ALF, all of those accessories that we listed off that I don't remember already. And look, my favorite kind of packaging, where it's sandwiched in there. It's like either just lock it in there really good with good plastic molding to hold the parts, which that would be ideal. But this, you don't have all these little twist ties. We just got a few that we gotta get off of ALF. But otherwise, everything's just gonna pop right out, which is great. So let's get everything out of the plastic. Let's see what we got. Oh my God! All right, so there we go. We got a nice little overview of everything that's in the packaging. And boy, does this thing already just look fantastic. And it's kind of letting me see some details that I didn't know about previously from the show. Apparently he's got a tail. Obviously, when these are puppets, it's generally just sitting at a table, right? You only get the top half, so the bottom half is a little bit fresher, newer. He's got some heavy, thick feet. I told you I wouldn't remember everything. So we got the fabric shirt, we have the cat sandwich, we have a soda can, sunglasses, the ham radio, we've got a popcorn bowl, bag of slime balls, the picture frame, and his interchangeable hands. So you actually get 5 sets of hands to go along with the 2 that come with him by default. And generally that means one of these is designed for something specific, like maybe the ham radio. That's an overview. Let's look at the details. So the fabric shirt, we've got the same person that did the sculpt also managed to do the tailoring behind this. And I would assume that the pattern is right off the show, but of course it's been long time, and I don't know how many times you wore a shirt, but this is already looking great. It's Velcro, so that's going to be really easy to manage, but then you get this button look, right? So simulate the buttons, but easy to deal with thanks to the Velcro. And we have the cat sandwich, which is actually on a plate. So looking at the details of the cat, I mean, this is really great. It doesn't look like it's going to have any articulation, which is fine. I mean, it's not what it's meant for, right? This is just an accessory, but the bread even has like a soft touch, which is nice, but really just coming down to like the kind of matte finish that they put on there. The bread looks very appetizing. Really nicely done on that. We have the ham radio, And let's see the details. You've even got a little screen on there. So obviously none of this stuff is gonna like turn or anything, but we have the kind of bendy cord, which is nice. We've got the little kickstand, all the details for even like the ventilation. We've got all of the pieces that you would potentially see on a real item. Really nicely done. Obviously just with stuff like this, you don't have the actual cords that would plug in for power or anything, but man, just what they've done here, this is really nice. So we've got buttons, of course, on the microphone, the details of the mic. It's got that nice kind of 80s metal microphone look, but I love that these are bendable cords. I'd like to see the process of how they put this stuff together, but full stickers in these two spots for that. It's not just paint. And then obviously the knobs and everything. We've got the photo frame, which, I mean, it's just one of those things. I definitely don't remember the details behind this one, but it looks nice. The frame even has the little stand on the back, and then the little pieces that you would spin to remove the back frame. Like, this is really highly detailed for something that would even just be sitting facing this way, right? Like, why put that effort in? Well, because that's what NECA does, man. We've got the sunglasses, which are the most basic thing out of the entire set here, but we've got what looks like stickers maybe in the lens areas to kind of give them that gloss finish versus the matte finish of the rest of it. We got the bag of slime balls, the detail there, but this really comes down to like excellent sculpt work and paint work. Look at this. This is insane. For this figure to come at this price with this kind of details, man, they put some other companies to shame that really cost a lot more. Pepsi can, obviously, is what that's supposed to represent, but we just can't get the licensing, or maybe it's accurate to the show. We'll find out. I'll put a picture up on the screen. So was it the same? Did I even find a picture? I don't know. Somewhat basic. I mean, there's not a lot of detail on that, but it looks good for what it is. And then you got the bowl of popcorn, which honestly looks even better than what you got from the Ninja Turtles accessory pack. This looks great. There's no mistake that this is popcorn. Incredibly appetizing and full of butter. Wow, just excellent work. And I love the bowl even has like this somewhat of like a texture to it. I don't know if that's just a byproduct of the process or if that was intentional, but I like that it's not just smooth. It looks like a plastic bowl. I mean, obviously it's plastic, but it looks like a bowl. We've got the hands, they're all kind of mixed up because I made a mess of things, but we have two left hands that are gripping. One is just a little bit bigger, so I would assume the one on my right hand is going to be for that cola can. So details, wow. This is just, the sculpt work is fantastic. So whoever was behind that, actually I know who's behind that because NECA lets you know. NECA's great with that. So Thomas Gwynn, amazing work. I need to see if you're on social media. I know Paul Harding, who does a lot of stuff, is on Twitter. I follow that guy. But look at this. Even the little pads on the palms of his hand. Fantastic. We've got the last one here. So just a tighter grip, which again, I think this is going to be probably ideally for that ham radio. But the details, love it. Can't beat it. And then of course, Alf, looking at his details, I mean, it's just like right out of the show. This is awesome. You can see a little bit of the joints going on here, but it blends ultimately pretty well, and it's really on camera that I noticed it, to be honest. So when I stare at it in person now, I see it, but it blended really well by default. So the only thing that really throws off the sculpt is just like all of these gaps, but you have to do it. There's no way around it. You can, just try to do what Super 7 does and just not even give articulation, but that just doesn't work. This is fantastic. I'm seeing that the mouth is gonna look like it anyway, has articulation, but stay focused on details. So looking at the haircut, the eyes, the teeth, I mean, this is just great. I just can't believe that you get the quality that you do at the price that they offer this stuff. I paid a few extra bucks because I got it locally, where if you ordered online, you kind of pay that straight up retail price of, I don't know how much it was retail, what, $32.99 or $37? But look at those details. I mean, this is just next level. I love it. Can't say enough good things about it. We got the feet here. What's on the bottom? So we do actually have peg holes, which is great. Always appreciate that, even if we don't need it. The information there and there. So 2022 item just started showing up in a lot of places, but that is the detail. So let's look at articulation. So starting at the top, we've got the head. So obviously you can spin it all the way around, no problem, nothing in the way there. We've got some side tilts that are very easy to do. Love it. We got some downward angle, which isn't too much, but it's better than you get sometimes with other figures. And then his back, because he's got the whole top half of his head articulates to allow the mouth to work. So that's interesting. So you can look up, but then you can look up even further if you open his mouth. So that's really interesting. And I guess a little bit, you could technically do that down, but that's as far as it goes closed, at least for mine. Mouth, it's easy to get that off center, so pay attention to that, I guess, whenever you have your pose set up. But yeah, so the mouth obviously can open. What does it look like in there? A little weird. But from the right angle, you just get his tongue, which is nice. And then what do we got? Anything else going on up there around that? No. So we get the arms out into a T pose, no problem. We can go just a little bit above. You can rotate at the shoulders, then rotate it. Probably, right? You've got like double jointed elbows, which are incredible. For a figure like this, I thought for sure he wasn't going to have any great articulation, but this is way better than expected. It technically does rotate in there, but everything is so tight. So you just got to force it. And it's only tight because the space is tight. It's not a tight joint that you would need to heat up. So the joints actually feel really, really good. But yeah, so you can, around the double jointed elbow, you can actually rotate stuff. So you could get some good bending out of all of this. You just got to play with it. And then the wrist spins all the way around, no problem. And then we saw from the other hands that there's going to be some swivel hinges there. So you can get a little bit out of it, but nothing too crazy, just because of the arm or the sleeve or whatever you would want to call this wrist hair that it really is getting in the way. So you do have some movement, but nothing wild. And then, of course, it might depend on which hand you put on there. And then at the midway down the torso, you got this full rotation. You got some crunches you could do, twisting and stuff. So some extra articulation. You can really bend backwards, which is kind of unreal. I don't know why it would go that far back. But that allows for a little bit forward, but nothing too crazy. Now on the back, he has a tail, but does not have any articulation, so don't get crazy tugging on that. This whole bottom waist is actually really soft, so you can kind of see that. I can like pinch it, so you can feel the hard plastic and stuff underneath a bit, but that's gonna help with articulation stuff, which is nice. And the fact that they can go from hard plastic to soft plastic and blend that paint so well is amazing. You don't see that with some other brands. You see it here. So the legs, you can do full splits, no problem. These joints are perfection, by the way. Nothing feels tight. Nothing is an issue here. So we got the new classic ball joint from NECA. So that means you can rotate it all the way around, no problem there. We've got rotation at the kneecap. And then you can get about 90 degrees out of the knee. And then you're going to rotate this foot, which is just that kind of classic swivel hinge thing that allows you to keep it flat-footed when you pose the leg differently. So can it go up just barely and then down just a little bit. So not a whole lot of range, but this isn't really the figure that you would really even expect to have this much articulation. But this is what you wanted Gizmo to be like. Like this is fixing the problems I had with Gizmo, who doesn't do anything. This is correct. This is a nice way to handle a small character at this size, this physical size. Scale, I don't know what scale this is, but it's really nice. I am a huge fan of everything we've got so far. And when taking the hands off, they're just going to be that kind of standard little stub there. So we can put in one of these other hands, see if the articulation's any different based on the hand. No, I mean, you still just get like a really small range in the wrist because of the hair around his wrist. But yeah, so one hand specifically designed for that can and it works well. The hands are not like super hard plastic. You can actually kind of like squeeze them a little bit. So to get the can in, nothing to be concerned about. It just gives a little bit and has a nice little grip based on the mold. So great job, everybody involved in that, who's on the bottom of the box. Thank you again. That's articulation. Let's jump into posing. All right, so there we go with Alf. What a great figure. I am so happy to have this thing in my hands. So let's get into rating Alf. So with Alf, when it comes to details, I mean, they are just spectacular. And you gotta remember, at this price, it's insane. I mean, I have bought the $55 stuff from Super 7. I've bought this $100 and some stuff from Play Arts. But what you get from NECA with the accessories and everything, it's insane for that price. So great job. Maybe not the best customer service out there, and they have their flaws for sure. But overall, for the price, you really can't beat it. But details, we're gonna give him a 5 out of 5. This is a beautiful figure. We just can't give this thing anything lower than that. It's very clear. That's details. That brings us to articulation. And articulation is certainly better than I expected. There are limitations because of the fur around the wrist, and you can't look down that much, and then the ab crunch forward isn't that great. But you have articulation essentially at the mouth, you know, with those limitations, but you're getting stuff that you wouldn't expect. I'm gonna give Alf a 3 out of 5. So that's articulation, which brings us to posing. And yeah, you can have fun with this figure. You definitely need something like a table and a chair. You just gotta find the right chair that his legs will work with. But I think you can be pretty confident that you can get him to sit in a chair, especially if he's up against the desk. It's not gonna be a problem. But this is a figure that lived at a desk because it was a puppet. So you really, to really maximize the experience, I think, of this character, you gotta find a dollhouse desk or table or something. But you can still get more posing out of it than you would expect. You can have some fun with it. You've got some accessories. So with that, I'm gonna give the posing a 3 out of 5. So there we go. Those are the scores and the overall rating that we have given Alf. What do you think? Is that a fair rating for Alf? And if this is a figure that you haven't gotten yet, I think it's clear to say that as excited as I have been throughout this review, yes, you should get this figure. If you like the show, you like the nostalgia behind this thing, then yeah, absolutely get it. The price is perfect. You just can't beat what you get for that price. So order it or find your local store that's got it and pick it up. And in the meantime, if you want to see another great item from NECA, then watch this video here. We'll see you next time.